passion that sizzles.
I think there was like two magnets just drawn together.
You know what those things do to you? They make you crazy!
Then fizzles.
Whatever I want!
But when the fire of young love is reignited years later, the old flame burns with a vengeance.
If somebody walks in a room naked, he's not gonna turn it down.
She dated other people, she married other people, but she was always stalking Michael.
Ow! Ow, please stop it! Please! Ow! Ow, please! My...
If he couldn't have her, nobody was gonna have her.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. It's 1985, and 15-year-old Michael Taylor is in Memphis for a few weeks to visit his father. It's a welcome change from the sleepy Arkansas town 3.5 hours away, where he lives with his mom and stepdad.
Michael was always a child that everybody loved.
There's my guys, there we go.
All the girls wanted to be with Mike, and all the guys wanted to be Michael, you know.
All right. Let's go, let's do it. Let's do it.
One afternoon, he's hanging with his Memphis friends at a local ice rink when a girl catches his eye.
That's when he actually met Pam, and he met her at the skating rink.
Who is that?
Pamela Gray is a star student at Memphis Catholic, a local private high school.
She loved to speed skate, so she did that as a hobby.
Pam was very athletic as a teenager. She was very studious at school. She played softball. She made honor roll.
She's a beautiful girl. Absolutely gorgeous and sweet, loving, caring. Always aimed to please the other person, never nothing for herself.
Can I join you?
If you can keep up.
They just fell in love at first sight, you know, and they were inseparable.
Before heading home to Arkansas, Mike calls his mom with a surprising request.
Hello?
Hey, Mom.
Hi, hon, you coming home?
Would you ever consider moving back to Memphis? I met this girl, Pam. That's not the only reason, though. I've been talking to schools, and Kingsbury actually wants me on their track and field team.
Michael, no.
I'm married. We're all living in Arkansas now. That's it.
He said, I've talked to several schools, and, you know, they're really interested in me coming here and pole vaulting and, you know, and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, no.
Okay, I'll just stay with Dad then.
You get
Home right now. Do you hear me?
right now.
The lovebirds settle for talking on the phone.
You have to convince your mom. Because, like, really, Kingsbury is the best for track and field.
I'm working on it.
I can't wait to see you again.
Me too. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
When Mike gets his driver's license, he starts to shuttle back and forth.
Get in here.
He would just call me like every day, and he'd be like, Mom, please, just move down here. I don't want to be away from you. I want you to be here. And that was a 4-hour drive. So I was scared that something would happen, you know. And so finally one day I just told Ricky, who I was married to at the time, that I was moving to Memphis.
It works out well. Diane finds a better job in Memphis, and her husband, Ricky, joins the family a few months later.
Hey, I want to help, but I'm really late, okay? I love you. Bye.
Michael did go to Kingsbury, and he pole vaulted at Kingsbury High School, and he won state 2 years in a row and held the state record in Tennessee for many years.
He's practical and focused on his achievements and on his relationship.
They spent their time together mostly sports-related activities.
I love you, Pamela Gray!
I love you, Michael Taylor!
They were just perfect together as teenagers.
That's why it's a shock when they make a big announcement 4 years into the relationship.
Mom, what would you say if Pam was pregnant?
Well, I don't know. What would you say if Pam was pregnant?
I'm telling you she is.
I probably shouldn't have, but I was excited that I was going to have a grandbaby.
Congratulations.
Her family wasn't excited at all, which I can understand that.
Pam's mom, Peggy, had always hoped she would go off to college and get a job before starting a family. So when the teens talk marriage, she does her best to dissuade them.
Neither one of them had a job. They had no insurance.
What are you thinking?
We'll make it work, Miss.
If you do this, you'll have nothing.
Pam understood that she was still covered under my medical insurance. If she got married, she would be canceled off my insurance. I mean, you know, you just can't say, I'm pregnant, I have no money, I have no job, I have no insurance. How are you gonna take care of that child?
Instead of getting married, the couple gets their own apartment, and their little girl, Jennifer, is born.
And Pam was certainly excited. Mike was excited.
But the excitement doesn't last long. Soon, the reality of parenthood sets in.
The guys and I were actually planning on going out tonight, so I'm gonna go.
You're a father now. You can't just go out.
Don't tell me what to do.
They moved into an apartment, but he only stayed there maybe a month, and there was an argument the whole time. I mean, they always argued, you know.
Michael!
I'll see you later.
Mike went on and did what he wanted to do because he liked to play basketball and he liked to hang out with his friends. So he just kind of went his way and she went her way.
Mike and Pam call it quits when Jennifer is still a baby. Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell see a young couple who may have bitten off more than they can chew.
Mike and Pam have a puppy love. They're drawn together, as many teenagers are, by infatuation, but they haven't really had enough time in life yet to figure out who they even are as individuals. So it's very hard at that age for them to really know what they want in a partner and to really sort of build the kind of long-term sustainable connection that you see more mature people make.
Things are going to be very hard for Mike and Pam now that they've split up and have a child. What a lot of people don't realize is once you have a child together, you're pretty much together forever. And so these two are going to have to find a way to get along and co-parent.
Mike goes to stay with his mom, while Pam and the baby go to stay with Pam's grandma. Pam has custody. Mike has visitation.
He was supposed to get her every other weekend, and he paid child support.
Months go by, then years. Both Pam and Mike get on with their lives and careers. And Pam's ability to manage motherhood with schooling and career becomes a source of pride.
Pam was a licensed practical nurse. She worked at Youth Villages, which is a home here in Memphis for children from broken homes or orphans. And she was well thought of.
Good morning.
How do you do it? You look great every morning.
Thank you.
Despite her busy schedule, she finds the time to take care of herself.
Morning.
always had makeup on, no matter what time of day, no matter if she just got called in on the last moment. No hair out of place, just always like she just stepped out of a magazine to me. She was a very nice-looking person.
And she more than finds the time to be a good mom.
So, how was this weekend? Oh, I didn't tell you. We were at a tournament in Nashville.
She was friendly and outgoing, though. She talked a lot about her and Jennifer. Jennifer was on a traveling basketball team, and I believe she went to a private school.
She went to St. Ann Bartlett, and then from St. Ann Bartlett, she went to St. Benedict.
We got first place. Man.
She was just all around a good mother.
Jennifer's lucky to have you. Look at this one. That's all of them together.
She did everything to give her daughter a good life.
Oh, she's such a cutie. Oh my gosh. She looks like her father.
Meanwhile, Mike trains to be a welder and a heating and air conditioning repairman. He also joins several local sports teams.
I met Mike at the softball fields in Appling here in Memphis.
Hey, pitcher. Show me what you got, girl. Nice one, pitcher. Yeah!
Eventually, both Pam and Mike meet other people.
She married another man that was a police officer in Memphis.
He would wash dishes, do laundry, vacuum the floors. They had fun together.
Mike also marries.
He was sweet and caring. He was very good looking and fun to be around type of guy.
But he's a little tight-lipped when it comes to his ex-girlfriend.
He was very reluctant to really talk about Pam.
Maybe that's because their love story is far from over.
Pam and Mike was an on-again, off-again relationship for more than 20 years.
You're not gonna do this to me again. If I can't have you, nobody else will.
High school sweethearts Pam Gray and Mike Taylor split up almost as soon as their daughter is born. Years later, they've both married other people, though Pam's marriage to Reggie, a police officer, lasts less than a year.
The reason that I know that they split up and divorced was because he had some major legal issues that she just couldn't forgive him for or handle.
Those legal issues aren't minor. Reggie is charged with sexual assault for an incident from years before. He's sent to jail, and Pam feels both betrayed and horrified.
It was like it was all too good to be true, and it was too good to be true.
In the meantime, Mike has 2 more daughters with his wife, Wendy. He and Pam continue to share parenting duties for their daughter, Jennifer.
Jennifer spent most of the time with Pam. She had custody of Jennifer. Now, when Mike and I got married, it was more set every other weekend for Jennifer to come.
Look what I got for the birthday, girl.
Mike loves those visits more than anything.
And look.
He was a great father. He spent every minute he had with them.
Huh? You want to go play baseball later? Yeah.
He was a wonderful dad, and when he had his kids, he never left them.
Pam doesn't like to be away from Jennifer either.
Yeah. Hi, Pam. Yeah, she's here.
So Pam would call for her. I didn't feel that it was hostile or anything like that at first.
But that changes. In 1998, Wendy and Mike call it quits.
Mike and I did have a time where we separated. And in fact, I had filed for divorce.
During the split, Mike and Wendy date other people. But just a few months later, they agree to give their marriage another chance.
I can't even tell you what happened, but we ended up back together. Both of us knew that we had dated someone else. We didn't know who. We had decided at that point we weren't going to talk about it.
Then Wendy finds out Mike's someone else was Pam.
Hello?
Hey, Wendy. Yeah, I heard
That you and Mike were back together.
Yeah?
Listen,
between you and me, woman to woman, I think you should throw away those old
old granny panties, maybe get some sexy lingerie. I bet you Mike would love that.
Excuse me? But I don't wear granny panties, and why the hell would Mike tell you anything anyway?
I mean, I don't know if I should tell you this, but
Did you date
my husband?
It was really no big deal. And besides,
I'm really happy that you and Mike are back together.
And now at this point, I'm just hysterical because I'm thinking, you know, now this is going to be so awkward.
Hey, babe.
You dated Pam when we were split up?
Wow. We went out a couple times. It's no big deal. I didn't tell her anything about our marriage. What'd she say?
And, you know, he picks up the phone and calls her.
hey.
Yeah, it's Mike. You talk to Wendy?
No.
And she denied the entire conversation. At that point, I knew what I was dealing with. I said, that's it. And we're going to have to figure a way to co-parent without me having to run into her, because at this point, I might hurt her.
I don't want that woman in my house.
Got it.
Still, Mike has no choice but to see Pam.
Hey.
Hey. Just tell Jennifer I'll be in the car.
She's still out. Can I tempt you with a coffee?
Yeah, you can tempt me.
Since Mike and Pam had a child together, they would see each other every now and then, and it was not always comfortable.
Mike and Wendy divorce in 2002. They agree Wendy will have custody of their two daughters and Mike will have visitation. It's all surprisingly amicable.
I mean, we had great times and we enjoyed, you know, each other. And then, you know, in the end, we just grew apart.
A year goes by. Mike now has a stable job as a maintenance supervisor for an apartment complex. He plays the field.
That's how it's done.
In more ways than one.
Just like that.
Mike was very popular with the women, easy on the eyes, and all the girls thought he was a very nice-looking young man.
But Pam is not willing to let him go that easy.
Any plans this weekend? Actually, I'm hoping Mike takes me to the casino. Your ex, Mike? Yeah, you know, we keep in touch.
Since her divorce, Pam makes sure to take up all of Mike's time.
They went to Nashville to play golf one weekend. You know, they just took several little short trips.
Then, for reasons known only to herself, Pam leaves her job and falls behind on rent.
She got evicted. I think they said she paid like 2 months rent there and lived there another 6 months and didn't pay anything.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, sweetie.
Jennifer, now 16, goes to stay with Mike, and Pam asks if she can crash there too.
Can I stay too?
Yeah, sure.
If that was Pam's plan all along, Mike doesn't see it that way. Nights turn into weeks, turn into months, and eventually, Pam and Mike admit to each other and to everyone else they're officially and exclusively a couple once again.
This is so awkward.
No, it isn't. It's not awkward at all. You know? I think we're a family once more, so.
she told me that they was going to try to make another go of it. And I'm just like, honey, you know, do with whatever you have in your heart.
I think he was just trying to give his oldest daughter, Jennifer, and Pam a family that maybe he realized they hadn't had an opportunity to have in previous years.
We are a family again, and this breakfast looks amazing, so just don't touch my bacon. Either of you touch my bacon and all bets are off, okay? I just want that known. No! Oh my God! Every time.
These two were bonded together originally by intense chemistry. And so I'm not really surprised that that chemistry won and they ended up getting back together. If you're ever gonna rush into a situation of living together again, this is the perfect scenario to do it. Mike's a nice guy. He's looking at Pam and his daughter, and they need help.
I would love to see this work out for Jennifer, because she has what all kids of divorce tend to fantasize about: her parents back together with her under the same roof. I think what we see here is Pam and Mike maybe rushing their reconciliation and moving in together sooner than they otherwise would have for this external reason: Pam's having a hard time affording housing. That always worries me about the ability of the commitment to stay.
Love is blind is true. Even when they were with
I do love you.
other people, they truly loved one another.
I'm not going to minimize it. I mean, something was there. That's just the truth.
But can that something last?
Her husband was in a rage and was beating her.
What are you doing? Hey!
Their relationship, I can only classify it as volatile.
Former high school sweethearts Pam Gray and Mike Taylor are back together after 18 years apart. And after more than a year of living together in Memphis, the couple shocks everyone.
He said, well, Wynn, I just wanted to let you know that, Pam and I had, we got married. And I said, have you lost your mind?
Pam and Mike have eloped while on vacation in Florida.
They didn't want any problems from family members, so did it their way.
And at that point, I'm thinking, maybe she's changed. Maybe they were true love from the beginning and they're supposed to be together. Who knows?
No one's invited, and nobody seems particularly thrilled, except the newlyweds themselves.
Oh, Pam called me. And I'm like, oh, what? And she said, yeah, aren't you happy? And I said, no, I'm not.
Pam, y'all didn't even get along in the first place. Okay, how am I supposed to be happy?
Mike adds Pam to his benefits package and life insurance policy, and at her request, agrees to move to a more upscale apartment.
They were living together, and the apartments that he lived at, he also worked at, but these apartments weren't good enough for her.
I love it.
Pam's requests don't stop there.
Mike would go up to the pool on his off days and sit out in the sun, and he was someone who worked out and was attractive, and he'd draw attention of females. But Pam would get very jealous and get very angry.
She decides to play a little game of her own.
You got this. You got it. Send him home. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at those arms. Doesn't stand a chance. You got this.
We were playing a co-ed game. Pam shows up with Michael. It was a little tense.
Great smile, bring it home.
We took the field, we were playing our game, and partway through the game, she was injured in some way.
Mike! Mike!
Sail it home, you got it.
Very nice. Mike, would you shut up?
What happened?
I got one to the knee.
I remember thinking, who can get hurt catching? But that was the last that we saw of her. She didn't come back to play any more games.
You okay?
I don't.
Okay.
Mike doesn't come back much after that either.
Michael let me know after that she really was jealous of all women that she ran across and that she really didn't want him to be around any of us girls at the softball field.
There are other elements of Mike's lifestyle that Pam does not approve of.
I hate to say this, but Mike did steroids and stuff. He did, because he was a buff. He liked to work out.
I was with Mike for probably 4 to 5 years during cycles that he would take of steroids. During the summer, he had a hard time keeping weight on because he was really skinny.
It's something he's done on and off for years, and it makes Pam crazy.
Unbelievable!
Hey! What are you doing?
You know what those things do to you! They make you crazy!
I can do whatever I want.
With Mike, it was my way or the highway. You know, it was, I'm not gonna stop and I'm not gonna change.
This is what you're spending all of our money on!
Mike has some complaints of his own.
You know what, Pam? You know what we can't afford? You sending Jen and her friends to Florida. Or all of your shopping sprees. Or the, hey, Mike, I forgot to pay the bills.
Her finances were a mess, and she spent.
You're incredible.
Though she's found work with a placement agency, it's not permanent, and Mike insists she's living beyond her means.
For example, if Jennifer had a prom to go to, it wouldn't be the dress she could afford, it would be her entire paycheck dress, and then something wouldn't get paid.
And the problems with her finances don't stop there. One afternoon, Mike's at home when a strange man comes by.
The man said, I'm looking for Pamela Gray. And Mike said, well, she's Pamela Taylor. She's my wife. And he said, well, she's got a car that we've been trying to repossess for years now, and we've just now found it. He was very angry.
And that's not Pam's only debt.
Another great debt that she had was St. Benedict's School. He found out the day that Jennifer didn't get her diploma. We were at graduation, and he found out then because when he opened up her, you know, they come in a little thing, and when he opened it up, there was none in there, and he was very angry. School showed them $14,700, and what she told Michael she owed them was $2,000, and she had made arrangements with it to pay them, but she hadn't. And after that was when everything started going downhill.
Both Pam and Mike have some extreme behaviors. Pam has a spending issue and Mike has a steroid issue, and the combination of those two things can be real problems for their relationship.
Pam actually has some reasonable concerns about Mike's behavior. When you're a committed husband and father, you can't do as many of the things outside of the house that your family, your spouse are not involved in as you can when you're a single man. On top of that, the steroids can have all kinds of profound negative physiological and psychological effects. If Mike is using steroids any other way than by prescription as directed by a physician, Pam has every reason to be concerned.
Friends and family members say the tension between the two becomes very palpable.
For example, if he was playing a video game and lost, he would throw the remote control at the TV set.
I'm a big piece of crap!
Would you calm down? It's just a stupid game.
Mike had rages. He had plenty of rages. And he always got on his Xbox and got mad and rage.
He'd spit on the TV over a game.
The rages don't stop at the home.
When he was playing golf, if the ball didn't go where he wanted it to go, he'd break golf clubs.
One incident that we talked about frequently was him throwing a golf club against a tree.
Pamela always, if she acted submissive, she could get him to calm down. And she always thought that there was a way to help Michael.
But there isn't any helping this doomed love affair.
She was in the bed asleep. And he came in that door, knocking furniture over, hollering, "Bitch, are you ready to die?"
Months after Mike and Pam Taylor elope, their reloaded romance is already on the rocks. He says she spends too much. She says he's got a temper.
Ow! Ow, please, stop it! Stop it! Please!
They argue more and more. One morning, the couple's daughter, Jennifer, learns that something is very wrong.
Please, my husband! He's hitting me! Ow!
Pam made a 911 call saying that her husband and her were fighting. She started yelling.
But by the time police arrive, Pam is alone and the altercation appears to be over.
Hi.
Yeah, we received a call about a...
Police came to the scene and he talked a bit, looked in the house. "Are you sure you feel okay staying here?" And she said yes, and he left.
Are you sure you'll be all right on your own?
Pam doesn't press charges.
Really, thanks.
Things are really escalating between this couple. He's aggressive with a golf club and his video games, and there's now this 911 call.
Even if it's just destroying inanimate objects, punching walls, whatever people do, can escalate to violence against other people in the house.
Possible scenarios are that this couple just can flip the switch. That one minute they can be really intense and the next minute they can have a smile on their faces and be relaxed. Well, the fact is, Pam and Mike are not good relationship material.
Later that night, Mike confides in a friend that all is not well on the home front.
Good game today, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted.
They were drinking beer. He was hanging out, and he was telling Tim, who was his good friend, that he was just tired and getting depressed over trying to keep Pam happy, keep their daughter happy, keep everything together.
Stay at my place, man. Spare room. Take a little break from her. Best thing you could do. Yeah. I gotta go. You gotta...
Jennifer decides to stay with a friend. Pam lets her know everything's okay. But it's not. Early on December 23, 2009, police receive another 911 call from the Taylor residence.
When they got to the scene, Pam let them in. She was very silent to herself, and she sat on the couch. There were some chairs turned over in the apartment, in which she said there was a struggle. He was dead on the scene. He was DOA.
Mike was shot in the heart and then once in the back of the head, right behind his right ear.
Mike's mother hears about the tragedy on the news.
When that happened, when I heard it, I just passed out. That's all I remember.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was driving home, and a friend of ours called and, "Rita, do you know that Michael Taylor was killed today?" It was a shock. I couldn't believe it.
Pam says she can scarcely believe it either when she describes the tragic sequence of events that led to his death. She begins her story with Mike coming home the previous night after their big fight.
Now, they did not sleep in the same bed that night. She went to sleep in the room that was used by their daughter. And so when he came back from Tim's apartment, he just went on into their bedroom. He didn't disturb her, and he just went to sleep.
Then in the morning, Mike goes out before she wakes up. But when he comes home a little while later, the trouble begins.
Bitch! Where are you, bitch? Come out here! He came in that door, knocking furniture over, hollering, "Bitch, are you ready to die? You're dying today, bitch."
Ah! Where are you, bitch? Get the hell out here! Come here, bitch! Today's the day you die! Come here! Come here! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the floor! Stay on the floor! Come here! Look at Put it down. All right? Just relax. Okay? Nothing you got?
Her story to the police was that he was using drugs, he was using Lortabs and steroids and smoking pot, and she was scared and she shot him.
Pam says she bought the gun to protect herself and only pointed it at Mike to threaten him. She doesn't remember pulling the trigger.
She told me, she said, "Mom, you'll never know how much and how badly you want to live till you know you're gonna die."
When there's been a history of 911 calls to a family's house for domestic violence or alleged domestic violence, it's not surprising for there to be another call. These things tend to be cyclical. And so it's possible that some more domestic violence happened. In this case, it was lethal.
The police begin their investigation. Was Mike in some kind of drug-induced rage? Toxicology reports confirm Mike has used drugs in recent weeks or months.
There were only 2 drugs found in his system that he could have been under the influence of. And one of them was cannabis, which of course is a derivative of marijuana. That's not considered an aggressive drug. He had steroids in his system, but it wasn't such an unusual amount as to cause what one would think would be steroidal rage.
The results are deemed inconclusive. As Mike's body is put to rest, his friends and family struggle to understand how he could have died at the hands of his first love.
Lots of talk about, how could she do this?
It's the same question that police are asking.
My daughter didn't kill or murder Michael. My daughter saved her own life.
Mike would never put his hands on anybody, and there's nobody in this world that would ever convince me that that was the kind of person he was.
Mike Taylor, 39, is dead at the hands of his wife, Pamela. But she says she was acting in self-defense. Police entertain the possibility until they find holes in Pamela Taylor's story.
When they got to the murder scene, furniture was turned over, but it looked just like that. It was turned over. It wasn't flung or thrown. It looked like a staged scene, according to the police.
It was Christmas time, and they had some nice little Christmas decorations, but none of the nice and pretty decorations were broken.
Pam claims to have been attacked, but her hair looks as perfect as always.
She looked just fine. She really did.
Then there's the real damning evidence. A receipt from a pawn shop.
The day before the shooting, she took her engagement ring and some other jewelry and went to a pawn shop and pawned it. I think she got $350 for it.
Just down the street from the pawn shop is a popular local gun shop where one would be likely to go next to get a brand new gun. And There were the records of her buying a brand new gun and enough bullets, for at least one round.
This was less than 24 hours before the killing.
October 14th, 2010, Pam Taylor, 38, is charged with first-degree murder. At the trial, prosecutors say it was Pam, not Mike, who was angry and unstable, triggered by him asking for a divorce.
He was in the process of going through the paperwork and removing Pam as the beneficiary of any health policies. Basically, he had already made plans to move. He'd already taken away his television. The man's not far behind his big screen TV. That's my experience. He moves that out, he's gone.
Why are you doing this?
Just moving some stuff to my mom's.
You don't live at your mom's, you live here.
And she knew that was coming, and she just was thinking, you're not gonna do this to me again. If I can't have you, nobody else will.
As for Mike's violent outbursts, prosecutors contend they were always against property, not people.
He hit a tree with his golf club one time, but he didn't wrap it around her head or break anybody's property. He just broke it, so he didn't hurt anybody but himself, because then he had to go out and buy another one,
Mike would never put his hands on anybody, and there's nobody in this world that would ever convince me that that was the kind of person he was.
Everyone who spoke to me, who I spoke with about Mike, described him as a very nice, kind person, not as someone who was violent.
When Pam called 911 on December 22nd, the day before the murder, there was no indication of a struggle.
She received this call from this lady, and she was saying, "Ouch, ouch, my husband, he's hitting me. Oh, don't do that, it hurts."
Ow, please, my husband, he's hitting me. Ow.
And she said, and I thought, this is really weird, because when you take a domestic violence call, and I've taken many of them, she said, you hear people throwing things and screaming.
Prosecutors argue Pam's first 911 call was intended to set up a battered woman's defense.
It was the only voice they could hear there. And the officer who made the scene thought it was quite unusual, because when he got there, she came out to meet him and nothing looked wrong. She had no bruises, no indications of a struggle, nothing of that nature. And they checked, and Mike was at work.
The morning of December 23rd, Mike leaves the house early to go to the dentist. But if he's in a drug-addled homicidal rage, the dentist doesn't notice.
We went out to speak with her. She described him as a pleasant patient who was always happy and in a good mood.
When Mike returns home that morning, he finds Pam up and dressed. What he doesn't know is that she's got something up her sleeve, literally.
He went in the bathroom, and she came up and surprised him.
Mike?
Yeah, Pam. What are you doing? Pam, what are you doing?
If someone's coming at you, it's highly irregular to shoot them in the back of the head. Just maybe. Back of the head, not so much.
If you were going to tell someone, here are the tips to make it look like you killed someone in self-defense, it would be like step 1. Make it look like they're a domestic abuser. Step 2, call 911. Step 3, get a gun and have it ready so it looks like you're prepared in self-defense. And so it really does look like it's a contrived story and not a real one.
The number one defense to murder is, I didn't do it. The second most common defense is, well, I did it, but I had to do it in some kind of self-defense. And anytime that is true, It tends to be a very straightforward scenario. Anytime there starts to be things about the story that are inconsistent, things that seem to be changing, things that seem to be implausible, it creates a high suspicion in me as a forensic psychologist that this is a bogus self-defense story.
Pam's family maintains her innocence.
I want people to know the truth. My daughter didn't kill or murder Michael. My daughter saved her own life.
But a judge and 12 jurors disagree. And Pamela Taylor, at the age of 40, is convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 21 years in prison without parole.
They found that this woman had killed an innocent guy and that she did it intentionally or knowingly. Michael was not the aggressor. Pam was. And Pam knew what she was doing.
For Mike's friends and family, there is no justice.
Mike didn't deserve what happened to him. You know, no one's perfect, and he had his flaws. We all did, but he definitely did not deserve what happened to him. He was a good guy.
It was pretty gut-wrenching, and every time we step on the softball field, it's a reminder that we miss Michael and that it didn't have to happen. She took a dad from 3 children. She took a friend. She took a son. And she just plain took a good person for absolutely no reason other than self-centered jealousy.
Her mother can still go and see her. Her daughter can still go and see her, but I can't see my son.